welcome to our lovely future humans and the 5D collective of mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving people who enjoy to take those lovely, bold steps forward into the future. We started with a short, why into the future? Well, because the future is always present, and then we don't need to think about it though, because with a beginner's mind and an open heart to your first waking breath, you get to be grateful in the now. And as lovely Dr. Daniel Siegel taught me, you're in the now when you're in the present, and that's because you're a curious, open, accepting, and loving person. So you have bilateral, vertical, overall integrated brain, so you're also connected inside, open to your inner world. You're also aware and loving, and so you have the self-compassion talk. And that's why when your self states the essence of you, you don't feel changed. The people who feel changed, they will have gone first to therapy. Some, others, no, that's the only place. What I have been able to learn from his course, Consciousness and Change, and from my own subjective life experience, which is why I, here at IHP, if you're new, I get to share with you not only as a mentor, mentorship, paid content for the inner growth mindset, exercises, reading spotlights, done one-to-one, group programs, workshops, also points of views, stories, and that is with personal and spiritual growth in the forefront for those of us who live and love as self-led, emotionally, mentally, physically intelligent people. So mental fitness as a lifestyle is because we're intentionally living as ourselves. And so we have flaws and imperfections, but we unconditionally love. Don't fuck with me or our biosphere. We've talked about that, okay? And so adding to your daily wellness lifestyle habits, that's who resonates with content. That is IHP's inner growth mindset and lifestyle stuff. Definitely you like to add to your well-being mindset ideas, because we're always looking for healthy ways to self-soothe, and that begins with the thoughts that are exploring the emotions that come up. So you also love growing consistently more of mental, emotional, and physical intelligence, because you have intelligence due to the fact that you also have self-mastery. And self-mastery is that ownership. So your child parts, they're the essence of you, and they still come up, and you can perceive when they're coming up, because that's how it works when you're self-aware, accountable, and regulating. So if sensations, images, affects, behaviors, and meanings come up, where's Dr. Daniel Siegel? That would be where I have the capacity to know about my subjective perspective and have agency. So like a lovely Terry Real would present, I get to tell you my thoughts and my feelings if I want to. Obviously, here's where self-regulating, non-traumatized people, we're non-traumatized because we are emotionally deep. And so with that, we know that those who have 5 Cusco hands don't want depth, because they're not connected. They're not open. Their insula is downregulated, and it shows in every 24 hours of how they are choosing to conduct themselves, how they're choosing their inner and outer talk, how they're choosing to handle everyday life, the healthy habits of healthy stress versus the dark sides of neuroplasticity, the unhealthy habits for the unhealthy stress. And that's where our 3D, 4D brothers and sisters are at. So we get to compare. 5D living is where I'm on a high, because I have my life force, I have my vitality, I feel life, I live life, I don't suffer life. That's a prefrontal cortex, okay? So that's why you're growing more master of yourself. So being yourself the smart way, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. You get curious, like I did with the ego saying, I don't want to do the diet, Maria. It's like, wow, I got so curious because it was so obvious. This is healthy for me. We have bad habits. That's it. There's no negotiation, but it still kept coming up. And then when I got to feel like I was about to die of sugar overload, that was funny, because my panic attacks have given me plenty of practice with what a panic story is. And also, I'm a hypochondriac. So, I mean, in my head, by feeling everything, by the way, because that's what happens when your body and you are one. And so your insula is lit up, and there's actually, I think they say fragment potentially in sensations, which that's totally possible, because it's like my 1-year-old is like, what's going on? But I'm a grown up now, so I can actually think it, which is why, again, attach panicky no more, because I get to regulate Maria. So you will resonate if you're curious about 5D mystic life, and if you have fun hearing about the differences between the weak ones. They're weak because they're suffering life. They could get strong, courageous, and then curious by being an open-ended inquiry with their thoughts. But they need to first recognize they have feelings that are suffering. And that's why when we do meet, I just want to be well, it's about what is right and what feels right. We don't say anything. It's dangerous to have no emotions. It's inherently not true that it's enlightening, or what was it? It's inherently not true that it's enlightening or healthy to be non-reactive. So the way that ego, a bullshitter, okay, so in my case, it's my teenager, but my 3-year-old and my teenager are friends, which is why I was like, wow, okay, you guys are really, no, it was one timber. And so that's just funny. Take both steps into the future. I'm 45. I was like, science is telling me a lot of things. I'm going to take it into consideration. Plus, I have people who are my loved ones who I trust deeply because they want my health. Because that's the part of what love is. What is love? It's that I will want to live a life of meaning and connection with you, not of meaning and suffering with you. There is no need for us to suffer life because nobody has to. So the ones who want to commit to their stories, we know who they are. They drag pain points around, and that's because their body is unsafe. And so they continue with the small window of tolerance, and they allow themselves to make that window of tolerance even smaller by allowing those maladaptive patterns of behavior. And so at a certain point, it comes time to grow the fuck up. Okay, so we have a healthy version of Peter Pan, the adolescent essence, and those who are essential spark, social engagement, novelty, and creative expression, because I'm using my prefrontal cortex. I'm an integrated brain. We then have the unhealthy version of Peter Pan, which involves inner critic, outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, and any other narrative that the 3D, 4D are going to keep making up, which is why they have demons and monsters, and they talk about divine feminine, divine masculine testing, and then they talk about divinity not wanting AI, and then they have all these ways of dressing up what they don't like of the present year 2025 because they're comparing the present to the past. And I'm thinking, I'm happy I'm not in a cave making a wheel anymore, and the only reason shame came to be in the first place is because our herd members would kick each other out. And if anybody took science seriously, they would know this. And anybody wants to tell me, don't you believe in evil? No, I don't. There's a Michael Stone forensic criminologist scale. They're all needing help. They just don't want it. So they're all weak. Which is why God is good. He is perfect. And God is good because good always wins. Excuse me. Smarts, good, love, intelligence. Like physicist Thomas Campbell points out with his mathematic proving it. Love is what's going to take place because, oh, I forgot, biology. Neuroscience and neurobiology prove that the embodied brain is headed towards its highest potential. This is why God is good and he always wins. And anybody who doesn't believe in God, again, they don't have to. What I can tell you is the ones who don't want love and don't want what's good were shamed to the point of where they don't believe in humanity. So, at the end of the day, you're not going to make someone into a believer. Where's that one quote I was looking for? Well, this one's beautiful, but it's yoga is about aligning yourself with the cosmic geometry. It is your choice to be either a piece of creation or part of the source of creation. You don't need yoga necessarily, but yoga is a ventral vagal portfolio of toning exercises and meditation with the mindfulness stuff, but with you being able to do mindsight will be integration. So once you are able to unconsciously love yourself and others with flaws and imperfections, that's why you don't suffer life. If someone wants to stay in the convenient bad habits, that's because that's how it works for 3D, 4D. And so here's where we're going to have another Sadhguru quote. In the marketplace, it is considered smart to give less and take more. In a genuine relationship, you give whatever you can without caring what you get back. And that's how it works for functional child adults, which is why you don't fuck with our mui. And we don't have a biosphere that owes us anything. In fact, the biosphere doesn't pay you back when around you have low frequency. And you don't have to calibrate to them, though, because like Dr. Daniel Siegel suggested to me when I asked him about it, he said, Maria, I think you're not differentiating enough. And so mental, emotional, physical, intelligent people, we are always with our life force and vitality thanks to anchoring in ventral energy, because self-reflection is easy, with self-awareness, accountability, regulation, and not expecting anything from anyone, especially when they won't know that they're not self-regulating because they choose to continue dysregulating and using inner critic, outer critic, drinking, drugging, fucking, and all the maladaptive patterns of behavior that make them Pinocchio. How's your island doing? So you don't do anything to people who were shamed to begin with, because a human is not a resource. A human being is a tremendous possibility. With the right nurturing, they will blossom into some one remarkable. Thank you, Sadhguru. Also, what I do love about Sadhguru, he has all these amazing quotes. Let's see if I can find it before I let you all go. But it's something along the lines of, if you've been put through shit, you won't put others through it either, right? And so when I meet people who are not aware of this, if you have been put through unpleasant situations of life, you should not be sensible enough to put anyone else in that. And then also said Guru, if you think you can half-heartedly love someone, there is no love. It's 100% or zero. And so to me, love is the good times and bad times, right? Death do part, sickness and health, better for worse. Doesn't have to be one human being. I'm saying in general. Love is when you can make mistakes, own up to them, and then say sorry and take care of each other, and that's healthily. So when I meet those who are not healthy in any way, shape, or form, and they want to bring to me their projection, I know what it looks like because I have a facade friend and more, and then I have a very specific story that I'm not going to share completely, but all I can tell you is that when things went down the way they went down, I didn't have any kind of let me be angry at you, let me know. It was, wow, I'm so sorry, but I know God knows some of his children suffer life to such an extent that they just choose not to want to go down the path that is actually their highest timeline. So you don't make people who have shame, blame, fault, revenge, low self-esteem actually heal that which is something so personal and so deep and so you don't talk sense, like Bezo Vanderpool points out, which is where free will, it's actively, to me, gifted to us. We have choice points. We present our best version to each other, and that's why it's not pressuring people to be squeaky clean, as a teenager. Maria, you're so annoying. That's the most fascinating thing, is as a grown woman, I meet the same type of teenagers. It's Friday evening, I'm in school. I asked a question because the teacher said, anybody have questions? I did. Do we have any homework? Boo! And I did not flinch. So to this day, mediocrity is not a challenge. It's not a danger. It's actually quite visible. Empowered feminines are people who own that which is called their body and their mind. And so it's not a competition, but you better bet that those who do take life seriously, we don't take it for granted. Every 24 hours, the future you is here, and you want to, with your first breath, say, wow, thank you. Whether you talk about it as God or dark matter, dark energy, I'm alive. I get to do something of productive, however small it might be. It will still be full of life force, because that's what it means to own your sense of self. And in fact, that's why, again, even when you have next to people who promise vitality, life force, connection, warmth, and instead they don't do any of it, you will always know that they don't know you, like my facade friend, and they're not really there, because that's why Cusco with Pacha, watch The Emperor's New Groove. Shame does that. That's what happens. They wear masks. It's performance. So science and spirituality, share with me what I've always been saying. Be yourself. And I added now, be yourself the smart way. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. Join us for physical, mental, emotional mastery exercises, ideas, stories, and a lot of fun stuff. And have a good one.